I was thinking about the idea of do we ever need tough love? And initially, it's something that just aggravates me and annoys me and even angers me because there's so much tough love. There's too much tough love when we're going through this. Family members that don't get it, gaslighting doctors, trying to rip us off these meds, telling us to walk it off as if benzo withdrawal, as if coming off the world's nastiest, most dangerous, disgusting drug was somehow a sprained ankle. You could walk it off. Which, by the way, has anyone ever walked off a sprained ankle? I mean, it's kind of a stupid analogy to begin with. But that's what they treat us. That's how they treat us, right? Just walk it off. Cut your dose in half. Oh, you can come off it in 2 weeks. And if in a month later you're still suffering, it can't be the drug. Or how many times have you heard this? Why don't you just take your meds? You're doing this to yourself. I'm really getting tired of this. You're driving me and the kids crazy, right? Just more pressure, more pain, more suffering. And they think they're being tough on you. You just need tough love. And so I despise that kind of tough love. That's not tough love. That's kicking someone when they're down. That's failing to understand the magnitude of the problem. And that's pushing someone closer to the edge. I mean, it's dangerous and it's disgusting in my opinion. If you're a family member doing this to someone you love, it's disgusting. If you're a doctor who's doing this to a patient, it's disgusting. How dare you took an oath? You took an oath and you're failing. But now let's flip this over a little bit and let's look at it from a different light. Do we ever need tough love? I mean, is there any room for it? And I do think there probably is. And I'll tell you why. Because many clients that come to me pretty much tell me that. They request it from me. They say, Dave, I need someone that's going to hold me accountable, help me get a program put together and keep me working it. Hold me accountable. When you talk to me, ask me if I did these things. If I don't, push me on it a little bit because I know me, I'm suffering too much or I've never done these things before. And I know I'm going to go down the path of least resistance. I'll bail out of this. Hold me accountable, Dave. Push me. Don't push me too hard, but help push me in the right direction, right? And that's what a coach does anyway. A coach will give you some tough love. I mean, if you're looking at, let's say, a football coach, if he says, okay, grab that ball, I want you to run down that field and you run 20 yards, you go, oh man, coach, I'm not feeling it today. I'm just tired. It's his job to say, well, that ain't going to cut it in this journey. That's not going to cut it in the big game when we're playing a big game and it's a 2-hour game. You can't run for 20 minutes and stop. We have to build you up to be able to, it's his job to prepare you for the mission. So what kind of coach would he be if he's too soft? Then you don't do well. You don't play well. And in the end, you'll turn around and you'll say the coach was bad. He should have been better. Yeah, but you resisted. Yeah, but he's not supposed to be just your friend. He's your coach. Right? So some of you come to me, many of you come to me and say, hold me accountable, Dave. And that translates to me, give me some tough love. Understand my situation. Don't push me too hard. Don't gaslight me. Don't put me down. But if you see me slacking in a little bit of an area, I think you guys come to me just like you would come to your spouse or someone else in your life and a friend, a brother, a sister, or a child even, and say, hey, hold me accountable, push me a little bit, keep me motivated because I'll get relaxed. I'll get lackadaisical. I'll quit. So that's the idea. Do we need tough love? And sometimes with my clients, I do feel that there are people and times that require tough love when they say, oh, I can't get out of bed today. I just can't. And I say, well, if your house is on fire, I bet you could get out of bed. Oh, well, yeah, sure, I can get out of bed then. Well, treat this like your house is on fire because it is on fire. That's what benzo withdrawal and recovery is. It's your house is on fire. Get out of the bed. Even if you have to practice walking to the kitchen and back to the bed 3 to 5 to 10 times a day, that's a start. Even if you start like me and you walk to the mailbox and back once a day, then twice a day, then 3 times a day. Even if you're like me and you grab these little pink 2.5-pound dumbbells and you curl them 3 to 5 times, 3 to 5 repetitions and you put them down for the day. Great. Next day, do it again. Next day, see if you can go a little more. Do a couple sets. Do 3 to 5 reps twice, then 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Walk a little further. Do a little stretching. Get up and get in the bathtub. Fill the water up nice and hot. Put some nice, fragrances in the water. Light a candle. Put on some nice music. Put a little tiny piece of dark chocolate in your mouth and do some deep breathing. And do it every day. Stretch, breathe, eat right, get sunlight, move a little more. Remove the toxic. Remove toxic people, toxic forums. Challenge the rumination. That's an addiction. Learn to put healthier things in the place of the addiction, just like you would alcohol or anything else. Right? It's a gradual, tiny daily step or a baby step forward every day. And days that you don't feel it, we need to be held accountable. We need a little tough love, right? We need someone to say, hey, come on, you can get out of bed. But I don't feel like it. Well, I hear you. You don't feel like it. And everything inside your nervous system is telling you, lay down. Don't get out of bed. You're going to make things worse. But then what happens? Look at the bigger picture. Things inevitably get worse. Healing from benzos is not intuitive. If it was intuitive, we'd all be masters at this, wouldn't we? Nobody would call me. Nobody would call Dr. Jen and all these other coaches. Nobody. Because it's intuitive. Intuitive says, lay in bed, rest, take it easy, sit on the forums, talk to people, ruminate. That's our instincts. And so everything we need to do to heal is contradictive. I always go back to the analogy of using the Chinese finger cuffs. These little Chinese finger cuffs. You put your finger in, and when you try to pull your finger out, it tightens. And so you panic. So you try to pull your finger out even more, and it tightens harder. The more you resist, the tighter it attaches itself. It's brilliant. Plays on your panic. I mean, I don't think there's a greater analogy or metaphor for mental illness or for specifically benzo withdrawal than that. The idea, the more we resist, the more we try to pull out of this thing, the tighter the trap sets. And so what do you need to do? You have to stop, relax, go forward. You have to go against your intuition that tells you panic, retreat, protect, guard. That's what the nervous system wants to do. It wants to guard. It wants to protect. That's what panic is. It's an alarm system that takes away all reason and just says, retreat, run, freeze, flop, fawn. These are the 5 F's of trauma. And trauma is what? A great stressor. So tough love. I think there's a really fine line there between tough love and just being abusive to someone. And I never am abusive to anyone. And I never want to see anyone be abusive to you guys going through this. But I do think sometimes we need a little tough love. And I would challenge you guys to look at yourselves and your experiences in your life and what you're going through and ask yourself, do you need a little tough love? Do you really? And if so, be brave enough to welcome it. Even if it is telling your husband or your wife or your brother, your sister, your neighbor, your friend, your child, hey, every morning, I'm going to try to get up and walk 15 minutes just up and down the street, for my exposure and for my exercise, and I'm getting some sunlight. And, a lot of days I'm not going to feel, can you walk with me? Can you at least ask me if I'm walking? Can you hold me accountable? And if you don't have someone in your life, have a calendar, have a checklist every day, which I think everybody should be doing anyway. Just have a list. So that way you can see it. Check, did this, check, did that. And you can look back on the calendar and see your progress, because that also becomes hugely motivating. When you say you've got 7 days in a row and you're hitting all those 4 or 5 or 10 checklists on that list, it starts to build and something powerful happens. You start to forget how to lose. And this is true with fighters. The more victories a fighter wins, say a boxer, they start to feel invincible. They kind of forget how to lose. They've got so much momentum in winning and doing all these things that they've been chipping away at for years or for months or for however long. And it's just become ingrained in them. And that's how this process of recovery, that's what it looks like, my friends. It starts We start very, very small. We find our baseline. When we start to slowly push back, we start to slowly lull down our nervous system. We start to slowly access chemistry from different things. We start to slowly build new resilience and new neural pathways. We slowly do all of these things, and then we start to build, and we build, and we build. And by the time you're at the end of this, it should look like your Rocky montage. You should damn near be at the point where you're running up and down the street, you're lifting weights, you're doing yoga, you're doing wonderful lulling exercises. You've built up skill sets. You're not just doing techniques, you're building skill sets. That's what it looks like.